The pink pill is the pink pill now. Put your pinkies up now, up now, up. Live well to the extreme now. Put your pinkies up now, up now, up.
Hey, it's Pinky. You're on the Pink Pill YouTube channel. Be a love and like, share, and subscribe. Pinky's up.
Hey guys, Crystalline Karazin here from the Pink Pill. So we've been hearing a lot of chatter about what it takes to get a different kind of man, what it takes to divest and be with different races of men. And I've noticed that there's been a lot of pushback, and it's legitimate pushback about people feeling like they have to be a different kind of person to get a different kind of man. And that you have to do all sorts of different things and dress a certain way and behave in a certain way to get a different kind of man. And the fact of the matter is, you're always going to find people who will meet you where you are. But the question is, are you happy with where you are? And are you happy with the level that you are? That is the question. So when I developed the Pink Pill courses, the original Pink Pill, the Pink Pill for Business, and the Pink Pill for College, there was a lot of people who thought that these courses were just about getting a white man. You know, she's charging these courses so you can get a white man. And that could be further from the truth. My courses, the Pink Pill, were based on my experiences navigating a place that was so foreign to me, so different, and what I needed to do, because I saw the benefits of being able to navigate in those spaces. And I learned so much along the way, and I wanted to pass those lessons and informations and mistakes, quite frankly, falling on my face, so that maybe you wouldn't have to. But I do understand that people may think that what we teach in these spaces, whether it's femininity or divestment or swirling, may think that you have to do all of you have to dress a certain way, your hair needs to be a certain way, you need to have a certain level of sophistication to get a certain kind of man. That's not true. There's always going to be men of every race who are going to be interested in you, wherever you are socioeconomically and educationally. But let's be honest, going beyond whether or not you're getting the guy, the tools that you can learn in terms of how to navigate, how to communicate, understanding business etiquette, social etiquette, the mores of how people of other classes and different strata, how they behave and maneuver, the confidence that you get by understanding those spaces are invaluable. And it goes beyond just getting a guy from a different race. We're talking about a complete overhaul of your entire existence. We're talking about the friends that you make. We're talking about the things that you're interested, the places that you go, the entertainment that you indulge, the people that you meet, the jobs that you get. Leveling up, being better, understanding how to navigate in these spaces goes more than just being able to code switch. And let's talk about code switching. Do you guys really know what that means? You think that just means that you will use the ing at the end of a word or properly conjugate, and all of a sudden, magically, you're going to be able to be or present yourself in a different way that you wouldn't do maybe in the communities that you came from? I can tell you, there wouldn't have been thousands of books on etiquette and presentation and how to present your best self if it were just that easy. There's a reason why those books exist. There's a reason why these courses exist. And it's not just so that you can get a white guy. It really can change your entire life. The way that you look at life, the things that you're interested in, the things that you never knew you could enjoy and indulge in. So let me give this example. Some people say, well, we all know how to code switch. That's what Black people do. We do that at work all the time. Well, here's the deal. I know a little bit about this. Particularly for Black women. You say that we all know how to code switch, but did you know that statistically, Black women, educated Black women who have been trained in a particular skill and they enter the corporate world, they do very well getting hired and into middle management. But you know where they fall off? When they get to that executive level, when they get into the higher management positions. And the reason why they don't get into those higher management positions is because they don't have mentors. They don't have people that they can connect with. People who maybe have had a different background from them, but nonetheless can help them ascend to ways in which they wouldn't be able to do just by doing a really good job. Because I have news for you, you guys. Once you get past the mid-level, it doesn't matter how well you know your job. It becomes about how well you know people and how well you communicate and develop relationships and build rapport and strategic alliances. And quite frankly, if Black women were being very effective at code switching, then this would not be our reality. And so the reality of me teaching the pink pill and the pink pill for business and the pink pill for college is not so that you can be different. That, I think, is a huge misconception. Here's the deal. When you go into a situation, for example, if you were to go into a foreign country, if you go into this foreign place and you don't know anything about the people, about the language, about the culture, and you think you're just going to be able to wing it because you might know a few words or you like a few dishes, you're going to be sorely disappointed. There's so many layers to it. And in fact, it's kind of offensive if you go into a place that you're not familiar with and expect for people to bend to your culture if you're in a culture that's not part of where you come from. Just like if anybody were to come in our communities and did not have an understanding, a cultural understanding, we would find it offensive as well. So what it does when you understand how to navigate in different settings, around different people, different classes, socioeconomic, intellectual, and educational strata, when you understand the rules of the game, you know what it does? It doesn't make you a different person. It doesn't meld you into something. But what it does is empower you to know the skills so that you can be yourself. Now let me explain. When you go into situations and you're maybe not sure of how all of it's supposed to work, all the components, these things are not something that you can learn by, Googling something and reading a brief article, or heck, even watching a video like this. This requires a little bit of work, a little bit of understanding. But once you get that understanding, and it is kind of like learning a different language, once you learn that, it's not like you change. It's not like you become a different person. You can be who you are, but you understand the rules of the game, and understanding the rules of the setting and the game empowers you. And it allows for you to not be somebody else, but be yourself. Why? Because it gives you the confidence to do so. You understand how to navigate. And once you know the parameters and the rules, that's where you shine. That's when you can blossom, because you're not worried about silly little things about, which fork to use and what a fish fork looks like, and, how to eat soup, and the right way to eat soup, or which glass to use, or how to introduce somebody, or how to carry a conversation and be compelling, how to avoid conflict, how to navigate in networking situations. Once you know all of that stuff, then all of the nervousness about how I look, am I saying the right thing, how are people viewing me, what if they don't like me because I'm Black? All of that falls away. You get a newfound confidence that you have never had before. And that doesn't make the essence of you go away. It makes it more charming and more compelling. And because you understand where you are and your confidence, and believe me, people can see whether you're confident or not. They can see it through your body language, through your language and your posture. They can see it. They recognize it. They recognize it on a primal level. But once you really have that, that's when you can be you. So all of this cultivation, the femininity, the refinement, the etiquette, the presentation, it may all seem silly to you. But when you understand that it's part of learning a different kind of language that perhaps maybe you weren't exposed to. I know that I wasn't. When I learned it, the whole world opened to me. And it wasn't just about finding a white guy or a Hispanic guy or an Asian guy, just on the strength of finding one. It was about finding quality people and attracting them to my life, whether it was romantically, socially, where it was making new friends, but romantically finding high caliber men, high quality men who were extremely successful. And they knew that being with me or having a relationship with me, they knew that I was able to feel comfortable in the settings that they were in, made it easier for them to want to do so. So it gave me a lot of opportunities to meet higher caliber men. And I continue to meet higher caliber men because I'm constantly working on navigating in those spaces so that I can present the best version of myself. But it also happens socially. You'll upgrade your friends. You'll have a different set of friends. You might think that the only friends that you could ever have would be of a certain color. And it may surprise and delight you to know that in the same way that you can find love from a man in another race, you can also find a best friend. You can find an ally from a woman of a different race. It really does happen. And it truly is extremely difficult. If we're having these divestment conversations and we're saying we're going to date out, but we have a level of contempt or indifference or a lack of curiosity about the women that those men love, their mothers, their sisters, their friends, their cousins, the people who they grew up with. If the woman that they love resents them, doesn't know how to relate to them, is constantly suspicious of them, it will cause problems in your relationships. Because even though he loves you, he loves all those women too. What's the harm in learning how to better navigate and have relationships and build rapport with these other women? That's important too. And going beyond friendships and romantic relationships, let's talk about work. Let's talk about business. Being able to make people feel comfortable, knowing that your boss can have you entertain potential clients in a cocktail party or a dinner party. That goes more than just code switching. It goes more than just pronunciation and conjugation. It's about speaking the language of these people and making them feel comfortable, making them feel like you're comfortable being around them. And they feel like, hey, she's one of us. We need to invest in her. She's got what it takes. That opens up a whole new set of opportunities for you business-wise. That gives you an opportunity to go farther than the average Black woman who only gets the mid-level because she doesn't have an ally. She doesn't have someone who will help her and guide her through. She doesn't have that knight, that person that I talk about in the Pink Pill for Business, who has access to the upper management, who also has the power to carry her through to those places. All of these things that we talk about aren't to try to condemn you, not to try to make you feel bad or less than. Heck, I'm the daughter of a sharecropper. My father was born in 1922. He only had an 8th grade education. My mother was a school teacher. They were very simple people. I say this story all the time. I use this joke. It's not actually a story. It's a true story, and it is funny. But let me tell you something. When I started dating interracially and I was navigating these spaces while I was in college, I was invited to a college mixer for a major national and international organization. And the guy I was dating at the time, he asked me, did I want to meet him for dinner after I had this event? And I looked at the invitation and I said, no, you don't have to worry about that because according to the invitation, there'll be cocktails and whore's divorce. And the guy I was dating said, what? I said, well, that's what it says here on the invitation. And he said, you mean hors d'oeuvres? I still cringe and laugh inside every time. But that started my journey of knowing what I didn't know. Imagine if I would have gone to that event and nobody told me different. Nobody told me Even though I'd heard hors d'oeuvres, of course we all have, but I never saw it written out. Could you imagine the mistakes I would have made if somebody hadn't gently corrected me? So when you're into these spaces, when you go into these spaces, I don't want you to feel like people are condemning you, that they're feeling that you believe that we think that we're better than you. We've all been here. And so we're only just sharing information with you so that you can win, so that you can go out to these mixers, you meet people and have opportunities to gain alliances with people so that you can win in all aspects of your life without having to fumble like many of us have. So I really wish that the conversation, the narrative about leveling up and smoothing out some rough edges, because heck, I have them too, still have them, to be a personal slight, to make you feel like you're less than who you are. All of these things can be learned. And they're simple, but they do require practice. And I want you to keep that in mind when we have these conversations. Don't be so resistant to having somebody tell you something a little different about how you can navigate in the world so that you can win. At least for me, it's all in love and a sincere desire to see you win. So that's all for this. I'm Crystalline Karazin, the creator of the Pink Pill for Business and the Pink Pill for College. If you want to know more about my self-improvement courses, go to getpinkpill.com. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, pinkies up.